What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. I know it's almost over and it's about time to head back to work, but hey, that's okay, right? Let's enjoy those last few hours we have while we got them. First of all, I want to say thank you for being patient with me. I know it's been about 2 weeks since I've had a video out. Life just gets busy sometimes, and when you gotta weigh your priorities, I'm sorry to say that, well, I'm not really sorry to say, but YouTube takes a back seat to work, school, and family. Family comes first, work and school, they're important, and YouTube, as much as I enjoyed doing this, sometimes YouTube just has to go on hiatus until I get the free time to actually do it again. So thanks for bearing with me, thanks for being patient with me, and thanks for all the comments you did leave on my other videos, and the fact that you're still watching is a testament to the fact that I appreciate what you guys do. So let's just go ahead and start today's video, shall we? Today's video is actually going to be about ZSH. I know I'm a Bash user. I've said I'm a Bash user and don't have any plans on switching to ZSH, which I still don't. But I have had some requests on ZSH videos. So I figured I'd start this with a quick how to install and how to set up ZSH without using OhmyZSH. Not that OhmyZSH is a bad tool. It is not a bad tool. It's a great tool. It's a great set of programs you can use. It makes things super easy for people. But I'm going to give you the tooling and the knowledge to know how to do this stuff on your own, and then you can basically make the decision. Do you want to do it, or do you want to let OhmyZSH do it? So let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Let's launch a terminal here, and you can see that when you install ZSH, this is what you get out of the box. Now, if you are installing ZSH, it is really super simple. You basically just use whatever package management system your distribution uses. If you are on Arch, you use pacman, sudo pacman-s. ZSH, if you are on Void, it would be sudo xbps install ZSH. If you are on Fedora, RPM, or DNF, I'm sure OpenSUSE would be Zipper. I'm sure any distribution that you're using is going to have it in its main repository, and you can just install it with ease just like that. And then what's going to happen is the first time you log into ZSH, you're going to get this. And this is basically just a simple warning or message telling you that this is the zshell configuration function for new users. You can basically start a configuration file. You can quit and do nothing. And like I said, you can do create the ZSH, the home.zshrc, containing just a comment that will prevent this function from being run again. You can continue to the main menu, or you can populate your home.zsh with a configuration recommended by the system admin, blah, blah, blah. We are just going to go ahead and hit enter, and is going to get rid of that for me in just a few minutes here. Let's go ahead and clear the screen so we can get rid of that message. And this is our stock ZSH prompt. It's pretty ugly. If we do pwd, you can see we are in home/jake. If I cd into /etc, you can see the prompt doesn't change at all, and I have to do pwd again to see that I am in my etc directory. So there's really not a lot to it right now. It's just a basic, gives you the distribution you're using, and that's about it. So let's go ahead and change that, shall we? Let's go ahead and start with actually setting up our ZSH config. So what we want to do first is, if we do a pwd, again, we are already in /etc. Well, I want to cd into /zsh. And if I do cd into zsh, not /zsh, now if I do a pwd, you can see I'm in /etc/zsh. If I do an ls, you can see these files here, and the one we want to look at right now is zsh env. So let's do a sudo -e and do zsh env and hit enter, and we're going to enter our super secret password, and here is our zsh env file. Now you can see I'm in nano because that's what the main default editor is for ZSH. So when we set up our ZSHRC, we can change that from nano to vim, which we definitely will. But what we need to do now is we need to point it to where we want our ZSH configuration file to be. By default, it is going to create a home/youruser.zshrc file. So it's going to be in your home directory. I don't want it there. I want it in my config directory in another directory called ZSH. So what we need to do in this zsh.env or zshenv file is we need to add a line down here. And that line is, we're going to do z.dir, all capitals, and we're going to do equals, no space, and we're going to do home.config ZSH. That's it. and if we do a Control O is going to write it in nano, and Control X is going to quit. So now we should have our ZSH system, or our ZSH shell, looking for our configuration file in our home user.config ZSH location. So let's cd home, let's cd into .config and hit enter. Let's mkdir zsh, and I probably already have it because I shot this video a bit ago and screwed up, so I started over, but yep, because it already exists. So let's cd into zsh and hit enter. Let's clear the screen and do a pwd. So you can see we are in home jake.config zsh. Now if I do an ls, I got nothing, but if I do ls-a, you can see I have created a .zshrc file in this directory. So let's go ahead and start building this file, shall we? So let's do a vim, and we're going to do .zshrc and hit enter. And this is our empty file that we need. And so what we're going to do here is, first off, we need to set some environment variables. Now I'm going to go about doing this the quick way. So I'm going to actually do a vnew, and we are going to do home.config bash.bashrc. So basically we are going to, let's delete that real quick. So you can see over here we have home.config bashrc, and over here we have our zshrc. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to come over here into my bashrc file, and I'm just going to copy all of my environment variables for bash, because they will work on ZSH. Most of them. We'll go over here in a second here, but let's go ahead and yank. Let's switch over here and do paste. And so now we have our browser set up as Brave browser. We have our editor set up as Vim. We have our visual set up as Vim. We have the location to our vimrc, which is again not in my home directory like most people have it, but it is in home.config vim.vimrc. Vim init is going to source that vimrc right here. We have the less file, history file. We don't need that in here because that's for bash, and this is ZSH, so we can delete that. This is FCF default command, so that's going to help us with our FCF command. We have our path, and we have our CD path, and then we have our libvirt default URI for our virtual systems, and then export cscope editor, which I took that plugin out for Vim, but it still had the line there. So let's go ahead and delete that. So let's go ahead and write and quit, and let's quit out of there, and let's close this, and let's relaunch our ZSH, and we're going to zoom in. And now what if I do a cd etc zsh and enter, and if I do sudo -e, and we'll do zshenv again and hit enter our super secret password. Now you can see it opens up in Vim, and I have all of my Vim configuration here because it is now reading my vimrc file. So that's all good. So we've set up our environment variables nice and quick. Again, that's something you can do on your own if you know how to set up the variables, or you can pause the video and look how I had them set up. But let's go ahead and quit out of here. Let's go back home. Let's cd into ZSH and hit enter. We can do that because I'll show you here in a second. If we vim into .zshrc, this CD path right here, this line gives me the ability to CD in and out of directories no matter where I'm at in my system. So I have a video on that too. You can go search that in my YouTube search function, and it'll just look for CD path and it will take you to that video. So now we have some variables set up, and let's go ahead and get a little bit more. So I want to turn off nerd tree, I think. So let's turn that off, and let's go ahead and do split that, and well, let's toggle nerd tree back on real quick here, and we are going to go over here, and we're going to go up a directory, and let's bring our bashrc back up. So let's go into bash and open bashrc. So now let's close nerd tree. So on the bottom here is our bashrc, on the top here is our zshrc, because there's a couple other things I want to copy over. So I don't want the decoration. I have that all commented out anyway. I don't want the cd command, but let's go ahead and start working on our prompt. Now, if we go to workspace 2 here, and well, no, I can't do that. Well, actually, if I do this and I do bash, and hit enter. You can see we're in our bash shell now. So let's zoom in and say I cd into my scripts directory. You can see I have this right here. This shows that I have a Git repository. It shows what branch it is, and it shows whether I have untracked files and all that good stuff. So I want to have this functionality in my ZSH prompt as well. So what we need to do is we need to copy this function right here and this function right here, and we need to put those in our zshrc file. So again, if you want to pause the video to do this, you can. I do have a video covering these, but let's just go ahead and copy and get these statuses put, or these functions put up there real quick. So we're going to yank up here, and we are going to paste. So now we have our prompt stuff up here. So basically what this is this is a function that's parse git dirty, and it's going to check the status of any Git repository, and it's going to show if you have untracked files, new files, if the branch is ahead, if it's got renamed files. It's going to check for all that, and it's going to print out that nice little box above my prompt that shows all that stuff. And then this parse git branch is just going to show you what branch that is, like the other one said, main. So if we go over here, this right here, it's going to show you that it's the main branch. So we have these two functions, and we're going to put those in our zshrc as well, which we already did up here. And I think that's about all I want out of my bash RC for now. So let's go back down here. Let's scroll down. So yeah, we basically just have, that's colored man pages. So that's all I need for right now. So let's go ahead and quit out of that. And so that just leaves us in our .config zshrc. So now we have our environment variables up here. We have a couple functions to add some get status functionality to our prompt. Now let's go ahead and write our prompt, shall we? So let's just go ahead and take a look at what we have out of the box. We have this nice Debian %sign prompt. That is it. That is what we got. We want this right here. So what we need to do is we need to come down here, and let's just go ahead and go into insert mode. Let's get this down towards the bottom and get back up to the top here where you can actually see what I'm doing. So basically what we need to do is we need to create a Git prompt for our ZSH file. So it works a little bit different than bash. In bash you do ps1, and that's how you'd start your prompt. Well, for ZSH all you got to do is type prompt. And once you type prompt, then you can start adding the configuration that you want. So it's been a while since I've done this, so let's see if I can remember and get this without any issues. So what we need to do is we need to go prompt equals, and then we do a single quote, and there's certain things that you want to use for ZSH to get like highlights and underlines and bolds and stuff like that. And so let's see if I can remember all this. So I think if we go %B, this is going to bold everything, and then if I do %F, this is going to be for foreground color. Now the foreground color I want, because I still want to get, I want this prompt right here. I like this prompt. I'm happy with this prompt. This is what I want my prompt to look like. So I believe this color right here is yellow in my color codes. So we need to do 003, I believe, is yellow. So let's close the squirrely braces. Yes, that is a very highly technical term, squirrely braces. So we have %B, %F, so that is bold, foreground of yellow. And then we're going to do a space, and I want to find the Debian logo. So let's go to Workspace 3 here. Let's go ahead and launch the Brave browser, and we are going to go to NerdFont's cheat sheet. NerdFont's cheat sheet, if we go in here and type Debian and hit enter, we see we have the Debian logo. We can copy the icon just by clicking there. We can go back to Workspace 1, and we can paste the icon right there. Now you do need to have NerdFonts installed on your system for this to work. So then we're going to leave a space again, and then I am going to do %B, %F to bold, and you know, I might not have to have the %B to keep it bold, since I haven't called it to be non-bold, but we're going to leave that in there anyway. And then the next color we want is white, and white is 15, so we're going to do %B, %F for bold white. We're going to do opening squirrely brace, we're going to do 015, and we're going to do closing squirrely brace. And then we are going to do % and then the tilde symbol. So that means we want it to use tilde instead of using /home/Jake or /home/user. So that is going to use the tilde. So that's going to give us this tilde right here. And the space before and after the Debian logo is going to give us a little bit of breathing room between everything. So we want that. And then again, we're going to do the %B, %F. Now again, I might not have to use that %B until I change it back to non-bold, but I'm just going to leave it in there anyway because why not? So we're going to do %B, %F, and then we are going to do the teal color, I think. Yeah, I want the arrows to be the teal color. So we are going to do opening squirrely brace, and teal is 006. Then we're going to do closing squirrely brace. And we are going to go back to the cheat sheet here, and we are going to do a chevron. And we want a right chevron, so we're going to go ahead and click on this one. And we're going to go back over here, and we're going to do Control V. And then we're going to want this right chevron because it's smaller. We're going to come back here, and we're going to do Control V. Oops. Control Shift V. And so there, now we've got the two chevrons like I have in this prompt here. So we should have the squirrely bracket, or the Debian symbol, excuse me, the tilde for the home directory, or the tilde plus the rest of the path should be right in here. And then we should have the arrows at the end of it. And so from there, we then need to go to non-bold to regular font. So we do %b. We'll make it so it's not bold after those. And then we're going to do %F again, and we're going to do squirrely brace 015 because I want all the text I type in my terminal. I want my text that I type to be white. I don't want it to be the teal color. So let's go ahead and do that. 15. We're going to then close the squirrely brace, and we're going to get a space to have a little bit of space at the end of it, and then we're going to close that opening single quotation. Now that should give me the prompt that looks like my bash prompt. So let's go ahead and escape. Let's write and quit. Let's close out of here, and let's go ahead and launch again and see what we got. Oh, there we go. Worked pretty good. So let's zoom in. And you can see if we go to workspace 2 where I'm on bash, this is my bash prompt here. And here is my ZSH prompt now. Nice and simple, so let's cd back into ZSH, and we're going to vim into .zshrc, and hit enter, and scroll back down to that again, and that's what we got. So that %B, %F, 003 is going to give us this Debian logo in bold with a foreground of yellow, and then we have %BF 015 is going to give us our path in white. And then %B, %F is going to give us the arrows at the end in teal. And then %lowercase b, %F 015 is going to make our shell text that we add is going to make that white as well. So that's that. We have a good prompt now. Pretty simple. There's lots of resources. You can just Google how to customize my ZSH prompt, and you can find all the different. In fact, let's go over here real quick. Let's open a new tab, and let's do custom ZSH prompt. You can see I've Googled it too. So, and which one was the one I used? Right here, tweaking for all. I Googled this one a while back and looked at it. And so if you come in here and you look, you can customize ZSH shell prompt. And if you just scroll down a ways, it gives you all the different information you need for being able to create your own custom shell prompt. So pretty cool, pretty good resource to have. So let's go back over to workspace 1 here. Now, if we write and quit, and clear the screen, we have a nice looking prompt here now, right? But see how close everything is when we hit enter, and say if I go to bash and hit enter, you can see we've got some space between. I like having that space between. So let's go back into ZSH, let's clear the screen, and let's try to address that gap we've got. Now I believe there is a easy way to do this. So let's vim into our .zshrc, and in our exports up here, or in our variables, let's add a couple lines here. I think just one line really. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to add precmd, and we're basically adding a function up here. and it's going to be square the braces, and we're going to say print, and then we are going to do double quotations, space, and then close curly braces. And then if we write and quit, and we close out of here, and we open our terminal up again, and we zoom in, now you can see when we hit enter, we have a nice little space between our prompts, which is exactly what we wanted. So let's clear the screen. Let's cd into ZSH again, and vim into .zshrc. And let's now start doing some of the functionality that people like to see in ZSH. So actually, let's quit out of here real quick. Now, there's a couple things like syntax highlighting and menu selection and stuff like that that people like to use in ZSH, auto suggestion. So there's a few things that people like, and so we're going to add a few of those things in right now. So first off, let's start with menu selection. If I do cd and I do space and I hit tab, I got nothing, right? Because I'm in a ZSH directory, there's no other directories. But if I cd and I go back into my .config and I do cd space and I hit tab, now this gives me all the different options I have. But a lot of people like to be able to either tab, you can tab through them if you just keep hitting tab, but there's also functionality to where if you want to actually use your arrow keys to drop down into this menu and just scroll through, you can do that. So let's cd back into ZSH and hit enter, vim into .zshrc, and hit enter. Now let's go ahead and come right down here and let's add something else here. So basically what we're going to add here is we are going to do, what's it called? I think we need to do auto load, and we need to do -uz and then comp init, and we also need to add set opt, and then we're going to do prompt underscore sub st str no, just st. Okay, so we're going to set opt prompt substring. That's going to allow us to put our functions into our prompt. And we need to do comp init, and then we need zstyle, is it? I believe, and then we do a single quote with a colon, and then we do completion, and then we do a colon star, single quote, and we do menu select. I think zstyle, completion in the colons with the star, menu select. I think that's it. I think that's how you do it. Oh, let's just check. Okay, so I think that's it. So we got to have this print, this pre-command function allows us to have a space between our prompts. The auto load, the set opt, the comp init, and the zstyle are going to allow for extra functionality in our prompt. So let's go ahead and write and quit. Let's close out of here. Let's go ahead and log back in. Let's zoom in, and let's cd into .config. And now let's do cd space and hit tab. Okay, so that brings that up. Now if I hit tab again, yep, now that dropped me down in there, and I can use my arrow keys to just scroll through here and hit whichever. So say I want to go now into, I don't know, let's go into our bash and hit enter. Now we've cd'd into bash right there. Okay, so then we're going to do cd ... and hit enter, cd tab, z tab zsh, and hit enter. So now we're in our zsh. So that gave us the functionality to drop down into that menu after hitting tab. So we have that squared away now. Okay. So that's two things down. We have our prompt, or three things. We have our prompt, we have the space between the prompts, and we now have tab select menu setup in our ZSH RC. Now let's go ahead and get some auto suggestion and some syntax highlighting. Actually, you know, let's do a little bit more in our ZSH RC before I show you how to add a plugin manually. So let's vim into .zsh RC and hit enter. Let's go ahead and create a write prompt. That is one thing I honestly can say I miss in Bash that is available in ZSH, and that is having a right-hand prompt. Don't ask me why I missed that, because it is not a very big deal, but I just liked having the right-hand prompt. So let's go down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this functionality, these two functions right here that show the status of our Git repositories, and we're going to have those displayed on the right side. So what we need to do is we need to go into insert mode, and now we're going to do our prompt for write prompt, and that is going to equal, and we are going to do the same exact format as we did the other one. So we're going to do a single quote, we're going to do %b, and we're going to do %f, and then we are going to do open square brace, and we're going to do it the teal color, so we want 006. Then I am going to run this function up here. So we're going to do $, and then in open parentheses we are going to do parse get branch, and then we're going to close the parenthesis, and then we are going to do %f, and we are going to do 3 for yellow. We're going to close that, and we are going to do $, and we're going to do opening parenthesis, and we're going to do parse get dirty, and we're going to close that parenthesis, and then we're going to give it a space, and we are going to do %B for bold, and we're going to do %F for foreground again, and we are going to make this white. So we're going to do open square brace, we're going to do 015, and we're going to do the closing square brace, and this time we are going to do %t, and we're going to close that opening parenthesis, or that opening single quote. So what this should do is when we enter into a Git repository, it should show us the branch, show us if we have any untracked files or anything, and then it should also show us the time over there all the time regardless. So let's go ahead and escape, and we're going to write and quit. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's log back in and zoom in, and you can see we do have the time over here now. So if we hit enter a few times, we've got the time. And now let's cd into scripts and hit enter, and you can see now I have my repository branch and whether I've got untracked files or anything over there showing, and I still have my time. So now we have a nice looking prompt over here. We have a nice looking right hand prompt all set up. We got a pretty good start to a decent ZSH setup already. So what we need to do now is we need to look up and install some plugins, and not using on my ZSH, but we need to install some plugins for ZSH auto suggestion and ZSH syntax highlighting. So what we need to do is we need to go over to workspace 3. Let's open another tab here, and we are going to do ZSH syntax highlighting. Again, you can see I've looked into this already. It's been a while since I used ZSH, so I kind of had to refresh my head. But we're going to go to this, and basically what we do is we have installation instructions down here. So it says C install MD. So let's go ahead to the install markdown. Now it says you can install it based on your package manager, which I don't really want to do. But what we can also do is we can git clone. And so that's what we're going to do, is we are going to git clone the syntax highlighting, and we are going to source it. So, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. Let me take a drink here real quick. So I am going to actually go back over here, and we're going to cd into ZSH and hit enter, and I'm going to make a directory called plugins, and we're going to hit enter, and we're going to cd into plugins and hit enter and do an ls. We need to have nothing in here, right? So let's go back over to 3 here, and we are going to clone that repository right into that plugins directory. So we are going to copy, we're going to go over here, and we are going to paste. So we're going to clone this repository into our plugins directory and hit enter. So that clones it in there. And so now let's go over back over here, and let's go back, and we are going to look for ZSH auto suggestions. So that's another one I'd looked up. So let's go into auto suggestions, and basically the exact same thing. So if we come up here, go to code, we can copy that and go over here, and we can do a git clone, copy that, and we're going to clone that into there. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to cd back into our ZSH, and we are going to vim back into our .zshrc and hit enter. And we are actually going to source some files now from the plugins directory. So we are going to do source, and we are going to do home /.config ZSH plugins, not plugins, plugins, and then we're going to do ZSH, and we're going to do auto suggestions, and then we're going to do /ZSH auto suggestions .zsh. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Source home.config zsh plugins zsh syntax highlighting. Sorry, sometimes I gotta watch my spelling, and so and then we're gonna do zsh syntax highlighting.zsh. So now we're going to source these two files in our ZSH, and that should give us the functionality of having syntax highlighting and having auto suggestion. So let's go ahead and write and quit. Let's quit out of here. Let's launch our terminal again and zoom in. We got no errors or anything like that. So let's CD. Oh, you can see it already changed. We have syntax highlighting. So what if I was to do CF? Oh, nope, that one doesn't work. LR or LE? Nope. What about LS? CS? No. LS? Yep. Okay, so good. We have syntax highlighting. Now let's CD into .config and hit enter. Now we're in .config. Let's CD back home. Oh, look, we have auto suggestion already. We can just press over and into .config. So now we have syntax highlighting working. We have auto suggestion working. We have a pretty darn good looking prompt, if I do say so myself. We have some functionality of showing our Git status in our prompt. And we have a pretty good start at a decent ZSHRC and a ZSH setup. So basically, if you wanted to continue on adding plugins and stuff, but you didn't want to use ZSH, basically you could go to the ZSH website, go to their GitHub page, find whatever functionality you wanted, download whatever you needed for that functionality into that plugins directory, and then source that plugins directory and a path to that file in your ZSHRC, and you should be able to get that working. Now, some of the stuff is kind of complicated, so you might not be able to get it all that way, but a lot of the basic functionality you can. So other than that, that's kind of what we've got so far with our ZSH. So hopefully this helped you out. Hopefully you guys that wanted this ZSH ZSH content, hopefully this is what you're looking for. If not, I apologize. Hopefully I didn't just waste your time, but yeah, so let's go ahead and actually CD into ZSH and hit enter, and vim back into our .zshrc and hit enter. So basically we have our environment variables up here. We've got a function to give us the space between our prompts. We have stuff set up for the menu select. We're sourcing some functionality for auto syntax highlighting and auto suggestion, and we have some functionality for our Git repositories here and here. We have a pretty darn good looking prompt. I can't say that enough. I think that's a pretty good looking prompt, and you know what? I keep saying that because I made it myself. You know, and the more you do stuff yourself, the more proud you can be of it. Again, not knocking anybody who likes to just let somebody else handle that for you. Nothing against that whatsoever. I'm just the kind of person that likes to sit down and hammer it out myself. So I was pretty impressed with that prompt. But that being said, that's kind of what I got going on for this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, what little of it there is. But, you know, stay safe, just stay friendly, and God bless. All right, you guys have a great rest of your weekend.